All right. So welcome again, SOLA, this community call. Tonight we are talking with the 2023 award winners of the SOLA Award. Today, February 26, 2024, is the first day of the SOLA Award application that it is out. And I'm going to share my screen and just give you a little example preview of where the SOLA Award is located. So this is our 2023 awardees.
Yeah.
And
It's me.
for the SOLA Award, you actually want to go to artisttrust.org/grants/SOLA-awards. And you can see that it is now open. This year we have five $5,000 awards that are going to go to 5 women across Washington. The demographic that we give to is you have to be 60 years and better, and you have to have created art with 25 years or more in your history, and visual artists as well. In addition to the $5,000, we provide the benefit of a professionally produced video that is for every single artist that is found on our YouTube channel. As I was just showing you, we also have on our website the artists from all of the years of the SOLA Award. We have 21 to date, and at the end of this year, we're going to have 26. Very excited to see who that next SOLA awardee, those next SOLA awardees will be. So today we have Renee Westbrook. Renee is a multimedia artist, mixed media artist. There are so many things that she has done that all of these women have done in the last, sometimes well more than 25 years. Anne Chadwick Reed is a hand-cut paper artist with a wonderful environmental approach to her work. Blanca Santander, again, a mixed media and multimedia artist. And Linda Wolf is a photographer and an author. So you're going to know more about them at the end of this hour together, but also I want you to head over to solaseattle.org/awardees and learn more about them on their individual pages with great links to their professional sites as well. So join me in welcoming the 4 awardees from 2023. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
A pleasure.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here with all of you.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have you. Thank you so much. And again, thanks to everybody that is joining us. So the impetus behind this is, well, who better to tell us how to win an award from someone who's won it? So I hope you will share all of your secrets. And also just, there are so many women that think, oh, I don't qualify, I don't do this, I don't do that. Like, how do you decide? There's so many other reservations, and maybe you, obviously, 5 people are going to be exactly the right people. So we're going to start today with just a couple questions. And I'd love to know, and I'm going to call out your name because it can be hard to talk all at the same time. So I'll help with this. But the first thing is, what were your initial questions? Or maybe if you had reservations about applying to the SOLA Award. And Linda, can you start and share a little bit?
I just want to say to all of the women here, that I remember when I came to this last year and listened to the SOLA awardees who had won the year previously, and I was so blown away. And I never imagined that I would win the award. So just give it your shot, give it your best shot and go for it, because it's in itself just the beauty of applying. It really centers one. It centered me, to pull together 10 images and to rewrite for the millionth time my statement, anew, because writing it now will be different from when you wrote it before. And it's just such a wonderful organization. Yeah, to apply to. And if you don't win this time, apply again, because there are always new judges. So I thought, well, if I don't win, I'll apply again.
I love it. And I will just say thank you so much for that. That this is not only, as most of you know, the SOLA Award that you're applying for, but it's also for the Yvonne Twining Humber Lifetime Achievement Award. So I can answer more questions about that. And I will say also, if you have questions that you'd like to ask, and if you want to put them in the chat, I will monitor that and make sure that we get to those towards the end of the call. Blanca, would you like to tell us, were there any reservations that you had, or what were your initial questions when you applied?
Because I think primarily I'm a painter, but I do, like I say, I'm a mixed media. Thank you for the clarification today, because I never put a name on what I do. I just study on the university as a painter. So when I read about SOLA, I say, okay, my time came. So I'm gonna jump to the. I don't know. I wanna see what happened. Um, I think we need to try. This is my second time I apply to SOLA. And I say, okay, this is it. And I cross my fingers and I win. But what I'm trying to say, I'm so sorry. What
You're
I'm
doing
trying to
great.
say is you need to I think never stop trying. I see this on my mail in Artistras, put the SOLA Award opportunity, and I say, yeah, I think I'm 61, I think. This is my time for this. This is perfect for me. But when I try to choose what to show, I have kind of a trouble, because I do, like I say, I'm not only paint, and these several years I was doing public art. So I take my time choosing what to show, what pieces to show, but I think works. And what I did, because I think every artist is unique, and each of us need to show what we think is the best at the moment to share. Yeah, voila.
Wonderful.
Sorry, I went many places.
No, I think that was really helpful. It was really helpful. Thank you. Just to kind of pick the best work. There are lots of people who I'm sure, like you, in fact, when we were going through how do I represent you as an artist in a very brief word, there were lots of conversation around, well, I'm this and that, so we're going to go with multimedia. Even when you think it's clear, but it is open to visual artists. And then there's more that we could definitely dig in about which works and what do you represent. So let's just continue on this conversation at first. Anne, would you like to tell us if there were any reservations that you had, or what were your initial questions when you were thinking of applying?
Absolutely. So I think persistence is getting to be a theme that's coming to the surface already, because this was my second attempt as well. And I had already had luck with a second attempt for a residency. So I kind of thought, well, what the heck? I think I'll try it. But, you know, I live in a very rural area, and most of my experience is around being in a rural community. I don't really have a pedigree degree. I don't really have a gallery affiliation. So all of those sort of doubts about my feeling that I'm kind of on the, maybe not in the center of where things happen, made me think I probably didn't have a chance. But I was eating lunch and the phone rang, and I thought, I'm not going to answer the phone because I'm eating my lunch. But then I did answer the phone, and there was this wonderful voice on the other end that said I had won, and I was totally ecstatic. I couldn't believe it. I thought, no way. So needless to say, it made my day and made my year as well. So
Yeah.
I can talk maybe more about at being apprehensive later, but that's kind of generally my feeling.
The general persistence is key. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And Renee, I'm sure you're
Yeah.
so confident you had no reservations whatsoever, right? Tell us.
No, that wasn't actually what happened. Is it was mentioned to me, and Malpina, someone had said that, or I don't know, it was Malpina, but it came up that one had to be endorsed in order to apply. And I thought, well, I don't know anybody to do that. And I had talked to, I emailed or on Facebook said something to Malpina, and she said, well, she had heard that, but it wasn't true. You know, she didn't think it made any difference. And so I said, fine. So I looked at the guidelines, and I kind of laughed because it said 60 and 25 years, and I was 73 and 50 years. You know, I'd been at this from the time I was 23, and now I was 73. And I said, well, I got that in the bag. You know, I at least have 25 years in. Check. And so for me, I've been at this game, so to speak, for a while. So I know how to apply. I know how to navigate guidelines. But there was one thing that I thought I would try that I hadn't tried before, which was everything I submitted to the 10 examples had already either been things that I had been awarded for, or had been in a special collection. You know, I'm collected by a museum. So whether it was in a museum piece, or I had, you know, been a finalist for the Danforth in sculpture, or had won the Jordan Schnitzer so everything I had submitted, I thought would be an edge if someone else had already, you know, said, oh, we like that. Now, that was just my thinking. I had no idea whether it would work. And I still don't know if that worked. But when I talked to Tip Tolan at that meeting that we had, she came up and introduced herself, and she was so complimentary and excited for me for winning. And she said they just love the work and the variety, because, you know, classical sculpture and classical painting and the 3D work that I did. I just felt that I had given you all a good representation. So I would say to someone else who's applying, don't feel that you have to do what I call your favorite work, just your very best representation. The work that represents you the best. That's what you submit.
Yeah, that is great advice. Really great advice. And thank you for bringing up the nomination process. So SOLA has gone through different iterations. We haven't always been with Artist Trust to do the adjudication and the jury, which the jury changes every year. So what
which
the
is
jury
important.
liked, it is important. I will say, I don't know if Artist Trust has reached out to any of you awardees from 2023 just yet, but they do like to have an awardee from the previous year. You don't need to share that information, but so
No,
it's
right,
a jury of peers that
right.
is, and you do not have to be nominated. This is a self application. The process is again on the artisttrust.org website. And that is in all our materials and on our Facebook and website. So it's easy. You can do it yourself. And again, really great advice to what is your best work. So, and you also mentioned tip. Did anyone else have other resources that they utilize during the process? So Artist Trust has these great sort of calls that I think they call them studio hours or something like that, office hours maybe. Did anyone utilize those, or were there, things, the process, did you send your application to a friend? How was that for you? Blanca, would you like to start with anything that you did?
I did by myself. I
You
read
did it.
the application and I did by myself. Actually, I apply for many things, so I get used to it.
Right, I'm with her.
So I didn't consult Artist Trust or anybody.
Okay.
So
All right.
I did them simple. Yep.
Kept it easy. I love it. And how about
Easy.
you?
Yep.
What sort of process? Did you just do it by yourself too?
I pretty much did it by myself. After I decided I was going to reapply, I did go on one of Artist Trust Zooms. I think it was like a study hall. It was called something like that. But I didn't stay very long. I just, I'm not really a fan of the Zoom process. So I stayed for just a little bit, but then I just got off and decided I would just go back to my original, the first writing that I did, and just go through it and rewrite it again. So I did have my husband proofread it.
Well, that's dangerous.
I know.
It must have worked. Very good.
It's
Yeah.
funny because I didn't see my application from the year before. So I redo my application from scratch. So I didn't see the other one to don't influence me or nothing. I just do it a new one, and this time works.
Well,
Very
if
good.
I can interject that, I
Yes.
think I always keep, if something is well written, I take a screenshot of it and I put it in my file. Even though I rewrite, it's so good to have a foundation from which to write, because you do write specific information for that application. But if you're talking about yourself and your work, that generally doesn't change very often. You use the same idiomatic language about your work. So the shorthand, if you're applying like I do, like you do, to lots of different places, it just helps to have an archive of what you said about yourself, 3 years earlier,
absolutely.
or so
Yeah.
I would say take a screenshot, put it somewhere. That way you're not reinventing the wheel every time.
Great
Yeah.
advice. Thank you. Linda, were there any resources, or how was the process for you?
No, I'm sort of used to it too.
Mhm.
Used to, well, I'd never applied for an award before like this.
Oh,
I just wasn't applying for awards. I was working and doing other things, but one thing I want to say is follow the application. Do the application the way that the application requires it to be done. Because what happened for me is I added something to my application, and I got a note back when I was out of town from an email saying, "I'm sorry, but we can't accept your application." And it was like, oh no, my app, like I had a day or two to fix that, but I wasn't even at a computer. So I wrote someone at Artist Trust and said, help,
Mhm.
what do I do? What should I do? And they gave me more time. So what I'm trying to say is these are really, really kind and warm people. that we're
Yeah.
working with.
Good point.
It's not
Yeah.
scary. And,
Mm-mm.
these are not people that are like, you've got to do it exactly right. And if you don't, we're not here to help you. They helped me and they got me to take out what it was that I put in that I shouldn't have, and accepted my, and there was no problem with it. It was all very well done. Yeah. And, yeah, I just really want to say we women, it's tough to believe in ourselves fully in a world where so few women are actually honored for the work that we do. And I, I just think you must put yourselves out there, and believe in your work as you do it with SOLA, because this is for us. This is not for, young artists or upcoming artists. This is for artists who put in a lot of time. And as you saw, I have a grandchild, therefore I have 2 children. I mean, we have juggled a lot to get our work into the world. And it's so important to trust this process.
Here,
I love
here.
that so much. Thank you for saying that. Absolutely. Thank you. What great advice. And so some of you have already started on, yes, Jenny says, amen. We all want you to apply and to believe in yourself. Absolutely. Is there anything else that you would share as advice for others that might be thinking about applying? I think it's pretty comprehensive, but something that we've missed maybe.
I just want to add to what I said, which is to, even if you don't win, keep believing in yourself and your work.
Yeah. It's
I
very
have
important.
something to say about your statement that you make. And I think for me, it was really important just to be totally honest about how my life really formed my work. I really took the time to think about holistically how my past, my family, my experiences really contributed to what made me do my work. And you have to have confidence in your work. I didn't worry so much about the pieces that I showed because I do feel confident in my work. But I also wanted it to be about just sort of a truthful way of describing my life and how it made my work.
Yeah, here.
Yeah.
I have a perspective being a Black woman artist. And I mean, I've been at this 50 years. I mean, literally at this for 50 years. And I remember being asked about that, not for SOLA, but another. And the woman who was a younger person and very confident, I was the only way I could say it. And she said, so how did you survive? What did you do to survive? And I remember at the talk at SOLA, I used the term, I was an art hustler. I had to reinvent every contract I made. I had to, walk into that room and say, I'm a creative consultant, I'm an artist, I can change your environment, I can give you something you haven't seen before. I'm a visionary. I will leave it better than I found it. I have been doing this over and over and over and over again. So the level of self-confidence was never the issue for me, over time, because I constantly had to come out of myself and prove that I can do, whatever the work was. I mean, I got my first public art project at 25. I was 25, right? So I feel that these 50 years, it isn't just enough to know that you're good, that you can do it. The reason I know that I'm good is I've had to prove it over and over and over and over and over again. That's how I had to do it. You know, I'm just not puffed up because I think it's, you know, it's good to say. I had to put it on the line. Every single job I took, every single contract, every single workshop, every single show that I applied to. And I mean, I had to sort of muscle my way in. And the thing about that is I think as a Black woman, I wasn't expected to show up in all the areas that I did. You know, it's like I had to make a space for myself. And I found that not intimidating at all. I found it, I had a lot of pride in that I could measure up no matter where I was. And if I had to say anything to a younger artist or to my fellow sisters, we have done magnificently to get this far and still be standing. I applaud you all so much because I have company. I'm not on this ship by myself. You know, yes, I have survived, but I haven't been on a life raft with nobody else. So that's what I would like to say, that it's not just being confident, it's proving it over and over and over again. And you know what? I never resented having to show up every time. Wonderful. I say, I'll show you. I can do this. Watch me. Yeah. And it's been such a pleasure. And when I was kind of mad, I told you this already, Nicole, I wanted the other one, the other award. Because it had more money. And you said, no, you want this because we take care of you. Because you know me, I'm always looking for the money. I apply to everything and say, I'm going to win. I always say I'm going to win. And when I don't, well, hey, I have another year to try it again. But it's wonderful to be able to stand with other women in my category and say, yeah, we did good, girl. We did real good.
Thank you
so
I
much. Applaud my other sisters.
Yes, thank you so much for all of that. Just to, you know, we do care about you. Jenny started this because she has a huge heart and said, you know, it's just incredible what women are going through. And we all deserve to be recognized, seen, heard. And that's the basis of what SOLA is. And it is a $5,000 award, but we create the video, we provide ongoing support. You know, we're really trying to adapt to know what the mature female artist that is professional, that's accomplished, what do you need now? So we're trying to always answer that. Blanca, I think you were gonna maybe say something. Was there anything else that you had?
No, it's like Renee is my twin. Because every time I want to say something, she's yeah, for me it's a challenge over and over and over. All the time I need to fight for my place. But I never lose hope. I never lose that confidence in what I can do. Maybe I need to open doors for myself. Like look, I win this prize and I don't have a gallery. I never have a gallery here.
So you're not represented.
When I came, I knocked doors and they sent me, after they saw my work, I was behind my husband. My husband was showing my work on the gallery and everything was fine until my face appeared and say, oh, no, Hispanic Stories 2 blocks away. Down. And I say, okay, thank you very much. After that, I have a trauma. I say, no, I don't want to go back. And but you know, my spirit as an artist doesn't let me stop. So I continue fighting and fighting for my place. And during my career, I had many recognitions, even here, because half of my career was back in my country, and half here. So I have many recognitions, and SOLA is one of the beautiful ones
Mhm.
from last year, because it's all women, and
Mhm.
that is my number one thing, because I'm
Mhm.
pro us always open
Pro us.
open doors for us, open more doors for us,
Mujeres.
because open more doors for mujeres. That is
Yes.
my team.
Yes.
That was always my team.
Yes.
So I made exhibitions. I create exhibitions for not only for me, for other Hispanic people.
Mhm.
We help. I try to help, because was my way was not too easy, but like I say, I apply. Sometimes I win. Sometimes they refuse me. But
Mhm.
what I can tell you guys is never stop. Always try, because Nicole say people on the change, the people who check you to see your work change, they are different. It's always different people, so you never know. But never lose faith in what you do, in what you are, and continue pushing and pushing, and doors gonna open, that's for sure.
That's
Bella.
beautiful. Thank you
Yes.
so much. I just wanted to follow up with a couple things. The videos that we do, I get to learn a lot about the women, and time after time after time, they don't share everything on those videos, but I know too much at this point, and I know what each of you are going through. I know the struggle. I know the continuous, especially the age group that we are working with right now. I mean, there's a story, I think it's going to come out soon, but a woman in undergraduate school in the 60s, white woman, young woman, passionate, dedicated, already talented and good at her craft, and she wanted to go to graduate school. And while she was a top student in her class, her male esteemed professor would not write her a
Mm.
letter for graduate school. He said, well, I reserve those for the men who are going to be successful. And she
Mm.
is a SOLA Award winner.
Mm.
So, at some
Nah,
point
nah, nah,
we
nah,
just,
nah.
and she's absolutely successful. So, and
Right.
with that, I know the struggles that you've been through, and I thank you for being here. And part of what we are trying to do is to say it's time. So I'm with both Renee and Blanca, and I know Linda and Ann would both say the same thing. We
Yeah.
want you to apply. It is your time. You have done the work again and again and again, haven't you? So try, do it this time, and do it another time, because you can't win both. You can't win the Twining Humber and the SOLA in the same period, but you can win a SOLA award and then get a Twining Humber award, Renee.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yes.
glad you're applying again.
Well, I want you to
And
know I applied for 3 awards this year. 3.
great. Yeah.
So I'm,
Crossing fingers.
yes.
Or not that you need any luck. You got it.
Well, I will take the angel's breath any day.
We're sending it along. So we
Okay.
have some questions in the chat. Unless Ann and Linda, there was anything else that you had within the general framework of what we're talking about that you wanted to throw in there. Shall we go to
Well,
the
I
chat?
would, Anne,
Go
go
ahead, Linda.
All right. What I'll say is, number one, I haven't felt confident about my work all my life, and more power to those of you who have. But I've had many ups and downs where I've looked at my work and I've thought, what the heck, is this any
Mhm.
good at all?
Mhm.
I think it's important to recognize that what Renee has said about how important it is to just keep on putting ourselves, making space for ourselves, putting
Yeah.
ourselves out there and creating room for who we are. It's not an unusual thing that I didn't feel always confident about my work.
Mhm.
It's how does a woman feel confident about herself in this life all the time? I mean, really, we are told in a million ways that we're not good
Mhm.
enough. And we
Mhm.
bought into that and had to fight that and struggle with that. And certainly that's been my life's work to help other
Mhm.
women in my work outside of my artwork
Mhm.
with feel empowered
Mhm.
and to work to turn back those feelings to prove not to anybody else, but and even not even prove to ourselves, but just to continue to uplift ourselves
Mhm.
as females. So I just want to add that. And yeah, go ahead, Anne, it's your turn.
Well, I just wanted to say that, you know, when you read this award made me feel like at my age, I could be recognized and seen, you know, because at some point you kind of feel like, well, maybe I'm too old to really pursue some things. But this award makes you feel like there's something to really strive for. And the other part that so impresses me about the SOLA Award is its whole shift to make you think about a legacy, and the fact that you need to think about what is the future of your work, what's the future, what direction are you going to take as an artist, and what's going to happen to the work that you have created. And I think that's been one of the most rewarding things for me. I mean, the money was rewarding too, but the way that SOLA is put together, and the way that it asks me to think about the future, I think is really healthy and invigorating. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah.
And of course, I love that. Thank you for bringing that up. It is very important, and part of your legacy is recognizing that you have value within the cultural landscape that is Washington. All of you. You have been creating and you have been the fabric of the very cultural ecosystem that we are. So I love that you brought that up. And of course, we really appreciate that that you find value in that, because it is very important. Part of the recognition that you deserve is you recognizing that you are part of this cultural fabric and deciding that you are going to create the archive that you want. And there's more information. I'm just going to, this famous female artist planner
Mhm.
that we have created. Those are free downloads on our website. And, it's really important that you just decide, what is it that I want my legacy to be? And then if there's something that maybe you don't want part of your legacy, if you get rid of it now, then no one will be able to see it again. So make sure that's the most important part. I'm going to go to a couple
Nicole?
of the questions. Yes, Marge, welcome.
Hi. I've been here on and off having a little tech problem, but I wanted to bring something to everybody's attention that this week there's an exhibition of the work of Juan Quick to See Smith, a Native American artist born in Montana, but spent a lot of time around Bremerton, out on islands, and then she lived in Puyallup for a while. It's a one-woman show showing 50 years of her art. And she was told that she could never be an artist as a young woman. She was told that if she could do anything, maybe it was art education. And so she wound up doing that. She went to Albuquerque, where she figured Native American women were at least more visible, but she found they were visible when they were, cute and making pots, in mud pies. But if they were really contemporary artists, they were not recognized. And she fought to get in the program, to get an MA and then an MFA. And this exhibition of hers is showing 50 years of her work. She's 84 years old. She's going to give a talk on Thursday at 12:30 at SAM for members. And if any of you want any free passes, I have some free passes. Okay, Linda, I see you.
Me
I
too.
see you. Blanca, anyone else?
Yeah.
Just let me know and I will leave them at the front desk in an
Okay.
envelope for you with your name on it. And you just say that Marge has left me a ticket and I will leave you a ticket and it will be then free and you don't have to pay $30 to get in. So just let me know, send me an email, but she just, one Quick to See Smith had a show. In fact, it's this show that we're getting from the Whitney, and it's the first show that the Whitney ever gave to an American, Native American. And they say they're a museum of American art, but never had a solo show by a Native American person of any sort. So I
Yeah.
think it's something that should have a little heartthrob for all of you. And so just let me know. I see I'll leave tickets for Blanca and Linda as far as
Why
I
don't-
know. Is that right?
Why don't
When
we-
is it?
Hang on just
Thursday.
1 second. It's
This
Thursday
Thursday at 12:30.
Oh,
Thursday
okay,
at
thank you.
12:30. And
Mhm.
anyone who would like to take us up on that, that's on the call here, if you want to put your name in the chat, then that might be an easier way because I have your email addresses from how you signed up. So put your name in the chat if you're interested in receiving a ticket from Marge, and that way we'll just leave one at the desk for you at Seattle Art Museum. That's Thursday at 12:30 for the lecture for One Quick to See Smith. Thank you, Marge. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
Sorry, I got too excited there. I was probably pretty loud. So getting back to the questions, one of the questions from Kathleen, thank you. The 25-year requirement, is that by gallery/resume or can it be explained? You know, there is no validation that the jury is asking for. So the application materials do ask for your CV, and so I think it will
Mhm.
be clear
Yeah.
by your resume that the 25 years is done. But it is sort of it's on you, if you know, to just describe it as best as possible. There's limited space for some of the writing that you do, so that isn't necessarily, it's not something you have to prove. And it could be helpful if the impact that you have made includes a body of work that has something from the 90s or from the 80s or 70s, then that's going to make it pretty clear. And not that
Right.
you should just submit work based on the length of the career. Submit your most accomplished work, but it does not need to be, it's not project based. It is based on who you are as an artist with a long career. So pick work from throughout that is your most accomplished work. And you want to highlight on your resume the accomplishments that you've had within that time frame as well. So we'll be able to see, and I say we, I am not on the jury. None of us at SOLA are. It's a jury of your peers. And they'll be able to see that you have, you know, received this award, and that's another way to, you don't have to prove the 25 years. We're going to take you that on your word that it has worked for you for 25 years, that you've done the work. Are there any other feedback regarding that, or can we go to another question?
Well, did you see that someone wrote, Rebecca wrote that she received feedback on last year's application and they said she had too large of gaps in her CV.
Interesting.
Those are called children.
Good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I'm curious, that was feedback from the jury, Rebecca, or was that from, yeah, from the jury? And I'll just say it again, the jury changes every year. So, so if you are applying again and you feel like, well, those gaps I was making work, but I wasn't necessarily, feeding the system that is the awards or accomplishments at the level or representation, now that gap in your resume, maybe there are works in between there that can show the panel this year that you were creating, or there's another way to describe that. So they don't require any sort of evidence. At the same time, that is part of the it's the thing you need to check off. So they need to see in one way or another that you have created for 25 years, and what that means for everybody has a different scenario. And at the heart of it, if you're a creator, if you are inspired and passionate and creating, and I'll just back up and say that none of our 2023 awardees are represented at a gallery. Not all of them are in museums. I will say,
I am.
You
I'm
are represented.
represented.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
I'm
good,
represented both at a gallery and museums.
Wonderful.
I've had 3 museum shows already in my life.
Good.
So I am
Yes.
collected by a museum in Boston, which I had
Thank
already
you.
said in the beginning. So
Yes.
I
thank you.
do have a commercial gallery that my work is
Perfect.
sold there. Yeah. So
Thank you for that clarification. But I do
Yeah.
want to say that it isn't necessarily based on, I want to just tell the people that are out there that don't have representation, that don't have their work in a museum, the award is based on the jury seeing that you've been creating, that you are accomplished, but some of the regular things that we think are accomplished, like being represented or having a gallery museum show on your CV, are not necessarily the qualifiers. So every jury is different. Are there any feedback from anyone else here regarding that?
What I know, my experience is that yes, it's a lot of requirements, but I think the most heavy, what carry most heavy weight in your application is your work,
Yeah.
visual.
Yeah.
I think that is the big point in in an application, your work, more than that, because I don't believe that everybody read your CV or your resume or etc. I was jury many times, and many people escape that. They go straight to visual.
Yeah, the
In my
visuals are
experience,
very
it's more
important.
heavy than the other part. So
Yeah,
prepare
regarding that,
your stuff really well,
Yes.
presentation, good photos. That
yes.
is important. Good resolution, and yeah, that is, if no 60, 70 or 80% of your application is your work and your work presentation.
Yeah,
I would just add, if I might, Nicole, that I think the CV is very important.
I agree.
I know that you were saying that there isn't stringent, but if you have organized your work through your education, your group shows, solo shows, exhibitions, and other things that you have done that add to the length of those years, that gives any collection of people who are judging, they get a good sense of those 25 plus years.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
if you write a strong CV, you don't have to justify any more than, but I don't think it can be haphazard. It's like she was saying that someone said there were gaps in her CV, too big a gaps. And those things really do matter in terms of, I mean, I think of this award is competitive, not in the sense that you have to be all that and a bag of chips, but I like that it's taken seriously, and that when I look at the work of my fellow awardees and those who came before me, like Mal Pina and Arnold, these people are very, very good, and they have solid paperwork to prove it. Their
Yeah.
CVs are not hefty, but they're good.
Yeah.
And I learned from that. I think that everyone who came before me showed me the way. And it really was Malpina who encouraged me to do it. She said, "Oh, just do it, Renee. Don't live in your head about it. Just do it." And once I chose to do it, I knew to do the very best job. I was going to put in my best foot forward. I went over the CV. I went, like I said, I chose only work that I thought other people had said, "Oh, we like that." I figured, I don't know that that was true, but I said, that's what I wanted to do. Now, I want to interject something. I got a message from the Artist Trust recently that my work had been included in work to go to an embassy. And I don't know where they got my name. I think because I was a SOLA winner last year, these people who wanted to get art from this area got my name from either the SOLA or the Artist Trust. And yesterday I discovered that my work is selected to go to Barbados.
Great. Fantastic.
And you see how these doors open.
Yeah.
They keep opening because, first of all, this is a wonderful award. It's nothing to sneeze at. And I call it my mini lifetime achievement award because they're only asking for 25 years. And I think it's a glorious moment for all of us, all four of us who won last year, that it opens even more doors than we realize.
Great. Thank
That's
you
what
for
I
that.
think.
Has anyone I know, Anne, I see you eager to chomp for that, but I want to ask just this one question. Did anyone submit a video? There is a question about video.
No.
Did anyone submit a video
No.
here?
I don't know if I did. I can't remember. I may have done one. I can't remember. But I also want to I just want to go back to Rebecca because I think it's a really important question. And also about someone who keeps asking about the variety of work that we showed. I'd like to answer those two things. One is, Rebecca, I would just stand up for yourself, as I wrote you in that. Stand up for yourself. And now that you've had that experience and you've had that feedback, just fill it in. Fill it in however you want to fill it in. I just go for it, right? And then the other about the variety of work, I have I'm the first photographer that actually has gotten a SOLA award. Isn't that correct, Nicole?
Well, not exactly. Mary Van Klein is also
She's a photographer. Nicole is a photographer.
Well, I'm not a SOLA awardee, but yes.
Oh,
so
one of the few of visual artists who's a photographer to get this award. And my career started as a rock and roll photographer. So that was one of the first shots that I showed in my variety of my career, because I was a teenager as a rock and roll photographer. And my last shot was a photograph of myself in a mirror that I took the day before I submitted my work, because I, gosh darn it, wanted to just say, you know what, I'm either going to win this on my merits or I'm not. And I'm going to just write what's true for me at the time, which was, I don't know who I am going forward, because that was what was going on in my life at the time. We were dealing with a serious mental illness crisis in my family, and I didn't know who I was anymore. And so I let that be my last last offering of my 10 pictures. It could have been something from any number of years that I've been a photographer. So I would say trust yourself, trust your gut, trust your heart, trust yourself, and put it out there the way that you want to. Not for anybody else thinking somebody else, oh, I should do it like this, or I've got to do it like that. Make this something that really is yours. And it's a community. The other thing I want to say is that SOLA Artist Trust is a community of women. It's getting involved in a community of women who are artists, older women and younger women, but older women who are artists. And that's just, I can't begin to say how rich that is, how rich and rewarding that is.
Yeah,
So
thank you
those are
so
my
much for all of
bits.
that.
Yeah.
And before we run out of time, which we
Yeah.
actually have, but I want you to wrap it up for us if you would.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, I think that each of us did things a little bit different this last year. And for myself, I felt like my resume, my CV, I had that. That was very important for me. I've worked on that my whole life. I've worked on that just like everybody else has.
Right.
So I felt like the work that I showed should reflect a consistency in terms of my development, and also that it reflected the length of time that my resume showed. Because if it was a mirror of it, then it was an example of how I had really spent my life developing my artwork that became my career.
Yep.
And then I guess the last thing that I would say is that, art doesn't end. We're all still making art. We're going to still be making art. We are very thankful for having an opportunity to be part of SOLA. It has given us the encouragement to move forward. Now we all need to be thinking about our legacy, how we can contribute to supporting one another, and being thankful for having this opportunity. It's just been fantastic. Nicole, you've been fantastic.
Ginny.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
One more thing. Sorry.
Blanca, yes. Thank
Probably
you.
I'm not saying that your resume is not important or your CV. I have that update every time I do something, an exhibit or something. I update my CV. It's really important, but I believe the visual part is really heavy in an application. Of course, you're gonna have your resume well done, but focus in your images. This is a special application because it's what you do in during your life. It's not like the work you did, your last work or from this year. It's work you did during a long period. So it's up to you to show or your best or what that means more to you on the work you think is better, but from different years or different, because this award is for women for an achievement all these years, all the years you are being an artist. So it's up to you what you want to show, but it's more free because you can show a work from this year like you can show a work for 10-15 years ago. So this award gives you more options to choose in your own work.
Thank you so much for that, Blanca. I want to just say one more time that I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what Artist Trust is calling it. I believe it is like office hours or study hours or something like that. You can and should especially if we have not answered your question. And they have more of an opportunity to work with you one-on-one. So this is a broad, general, get a good CV. We want to see the best images. Don't just have your cat in front of your painting with the image, really fine tune those things. But as you fine tune your specific application, that is when you take it to those office hours at Artist Trust, get feedback. Linda's exactly right. It is a community of all kinds of people, male, female, and everybody here wants to help you. So take advantage of those office hours, I'm going to call them. You'll figure it out. We'll follow up with a newsletter and post this recording in case you want to listen to it again or share it with someone. And, I know that Jenny and Marge, I think, are still on the call. And just before we end, have I missed anything at all, or is there anything else that either of you would like to leave with?
Well, I put a big chat in there, and I just so appreciate seeing the women who have come to our attention, who are so talented, who have persevered. I'm just a big fan of keeping on. And I think we, frankly, all get a bit better with age. And we're a bit like fine wines, and it's just really good. And I savor you all.
Well, that's great. The last thing I would add is, I wasn't really cognizant to the length of time I've been at this as an artist until I did the SOLA, where it said, you had X amount of years. And even though I've been at this for X amount of years, I've never had the opportunity to boast about the survival of that until I had to articulate it on my application with SOLA. And I had the work to back it up, which, as just been pointed out, that the visual component is so important. And with the CV and the visual work that spans 25, 40 years or whatever, it just gave me, by the time I submitted it, I felt a great sense of accomplishment. And I thank you all for that, because that was really, you're so busy in the moment of what you're creating. And I do these, individual series, that I hadn't had the time to look backwards, to
Wonderful.
1988 and 1988,
Amazing.
1998, 2000, where I was, and all the work I was able to coalesce into this, as she said, fine wine, until, to distill it into one application. I would say the people who are thinking about doing this, don't think too long, just do it. Put your best effort and your best work. And I believe, it'll be received very well.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here, for the incredible work that you're doing. We see you. We see you. We will not see your applications, but the panel of jury will. So we encourage you to apply and get your materials together. Go to our website, go to the Artist Trust website, participate in the community so that you can get what you need specifically. So we're going to sign off for now. I hope to see you next month in all the ways. And thank you all for being here. Thank you, Anne, Linda, Blanca, Renee, for your time and advice. These tips are pro. Thank you so much.
And
Have a good night, everybody.
I want to say thank you to Marge. I just got to say thank you to Marge.
Thank you, Marge. Thank you,
Marge.
Nicole.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Nicole.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
Jeannie. Thank you,
Bye,
Nicole.
darling.
Bye-bye.
Bye, darling.
Bye,
darling.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Twing.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Buenas noches. Sister.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. The veil, man. Bye.
Buenas noches.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.